What's that? Here he is.
Yeah.
Larry, take a seat, Mr. King. How are you,
I
sir?
could have guessed her before.
No applause. Oh, did you, Jimmy?
Hi, Larry.
There it is. Larry King.
Terrible.
He's got his Giants hat on, huh?
Yeah, I went to the game yesterday.
You did go to the game.
I did. I went with Mr. Tisch, one of the owners of the Giants.
You know, you can't just go to the game like a regular guy. You got to go with like the royalty.
Well, that's if you make when you make it in the business, you respect those things.
I guess that's why I go alone.
When's the last time you went somewhere and people didn't recognize you?
The last time.
Can you remember the last time you went into a restaurant or whatever and had to wait and like literally they just didn't know you?
It's still a flip to me because this is the truth, guys, and really it's not. And I'm meaning to be humble. I grew up as a kid in Brooklyn, maybe 10 miles from here. I'd walk the streets of Bensonhurst. All I ever wanted to do was be on the radio. I'd imitate radio guys. I'd listen to The Shadow, Suspense.
Oh, yes.
Go to Dodger games, listen to Red Barber, and I wanted to be that. I would sit up at Ebbets Field and roll up a scorecard and broadcast the game to myself. I just wanted to be on radio. So I got on radio in Miami, and I was a disc jockey, and then I started interviewing people. And all this was kind of a swirl. There was no master plan. Mm-hmm. That led to a national radio. I did the first network national talk show, and then the first cable international show. And now I'm on Hulu.
Yes.
Through Aura TV, our own network financed by Carlos Slim, the richest man in the world.
From Mexico, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a big dinner honoring him Wednesday night. I'm going to MC the dinner. And now I'm in this world, so I'm breaking ground here. But I'm not doing anything different than when I was 23 years old, interviewing people on the radio.
Do you remember your first like big interview, or the first time who was your first big interview?
I was doing a radio show. I was 22 years old at Pumpernicks Restaurant on Miami Beach. And I was interviewing people like visiting businessmen, waitresses, and one day Bobby Darin.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Bobby Darin walked in, and I nearly flipped. And Mac the Knife was the #1 song in the country. And he came on. We did an hour. Walked down Collins Avenue talking. I never forget something he said to me. I said, "What's the rush, Bobby?" He was so hyper. I'm going to make it now. I want to make it yesterday. And he says, because I'm not going to live past 40 because I've got this rheumatic heart.
Oh, wow.
And he knew he was going to die young.
Was that what killed? Was it a heart attack that killed him?
Yeah. If you saw the movie, Kevin Spacey did a very good movie.
Right,
he
Kevin
was on
Spacey.
An oxygen tent the last year of his life. He'd be backstage with oxygen, then go on stage, and then go backstage and need oxygen.
Jeez. But it wasn't a smoker or anything. It was just
rheumatic heart at birth. So that started all, Darren. And then at that restaurant, Jimmy Hoffa came in, Ed Sullivan. I got a name.
You spoke to Jimmy Hoffa?
Oh, twice. Before he went to jail and after he went to jail.
Huh.
Jimmy was an interesting guy.
I bet.
You haven't talked to him recently, have you? Got some questions.
The things you want in a good guest are you want a passion for what they do, and ability to explain what they do very well. I think I'm a good guest because I know
certainly.
I make those things and can describe things well, and a chip on the shoulder, and a little sense of humor. Hoffa has all those things except the sense of humor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jimmy
really?
was not a laugh riot, but he had that chip. He had great memory. He could go in a room, see 100 people, and 10 minutes later remember all their names.
Oh, wow.
And he had the wonderful habit, I got used to talking to him, of referring to himself in the first person. So you say, when you took over the union, what was your first goal? Well, Hoffa's first goal. See, he's called himself.
Yeah.
Hoffa's first goal.
He didn't say
but
Jimmy?
He was
Jimmy.
tough guy. So I got then Sinatra and then Gleason and then so I had this whole career, but it wasn't planned. I didn't sit down and organize any of this. Mm-hmm. It just happened to me, and I had the good fortune of having people run radio stations that liked me. And you all know we're on a pass. In other words, there's someone always above you.
Sure.
You do not, Opie and Anthony, own these microphones.
Right.
Someone owns them. And the person that owns them can remove them from you.
That's for sure.
I was always aware of that.
Right.
So I always took risks. I was myself. I always tried to be myself. And I had management that and the best was Ted Turner. Ted Turner hired me at CNN.
Yeah.
And he says, do what you do. And he never, ever in 25 years, ever went in and said, what'd you do last night? Or
That's
why
great.
did you say that? Never, ever.
Wow.
I never had a meeting with him. Oh, I went to his farm. I went to his ranches. I never had a discussion about why did you say that.
Sorry.
I was going to ask probably the same thing you were about any kind of controversies. Have you been involved in any kind of controversy over the year for what you said or broadcast? Or
No, years ago I was suspended for 2 days in a Miami radio station because the the owner of the station was a teetotaler. His father was an alcoholic, and he hated alcohol. And we had on the president of the Bourbon Institute. We had him on because he was a World War II admiral.
There's a Bourbon Institute?
Yeah, he represented the bourbon. You know, they fight for taxation and bourbon. Bourbon's made in Kentucky. So I had him on. I'm discussing World War II, and then I happened to discuss bourbon, and the owner went nuts.
Wow.
To talk about
Suspended for that?
Yeah, and then I've been through a lot of things. I had my heart attack in 1987, had heart surgery. I formed the Larry King. That's why I got this record here. I formed the Larry King Cardiac Foundation. We put out an album called Gotta Love the Holidays. My wife sings the lead song. If you listen to it a little, it's a great song. And then also on the album is Elton John, Celine Dion, Natalie Cole, Sharon Stone, Michael Bublé.
Look at you pulling out the stars.
Do you sing on it?
I play Santa Claus as Sharon Stone recites "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Oh.
So you talk on it?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
She kept her legs folded.
Yeah, I was going to ask if she did the
she
cross,
kept it
uncross.
So this album's available everywhere, so I'm mentioning the album and my own show now on Aura,
on
Aura TV.
Aura TV, on Hulu, right?
Yeah, Hulu distributes us.
You're breaking new ground there. That's
it seems I break ground. I break ground on radio. I broke ground on cable.
Yeah.
I'm like a groundbreaker.
How's that going?
A lot of fun. We've been doing this since July. It grows every day. You know, the internet is a very interesting.
It certainly is.
The joy of it is that I own 20%, and Carlos Slim owns 80%, and he's the richest man in the world. I'm here in town because Wednesday night they're honoring him at the Plaza Hotel, the Eisenhower Institute, as Businessman of the Year, and I'm going to MC.
How did he get his wealth?
Cell phones, right?
Cell phones, phone systems, mining, buildings, owns Saks Fifth Avenue, owns 20% of the New York Times.
All right.
The best deal he made was he bought Apple at 3.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
God.
But he's a really humble guy and a family man. 3 sons, 3 daughters. Wonderful guy to deal with, very smart.
See, I need a guy like that to like me. Like, I just need one guy like that to think I have something special.
It's nice to have someone that like
Yeah.
that kind of money. But he's very supportive. But he's very far-reaching, and he sees internet as tomorrow.
Smart.
And that's what's happening. It's just too big an industry.
Has there ever been something you asked, because you've interviewed so many people, that you, or has there ever been anything that you kind of wished you had asked but didn't? I'm asking because I saw an interview with Mike Wallace when he interviewed the Ayatollah, and he had to ask a very awkward question.
Yeah, he did.
And
Mike
you remember about
well.
being called a
Course.
lunatic?
Yeah.
And I'll give it. He prefaced it with.
Not me.
Not my words, but I thought that was a very ballsy thing to ask. And has there been one that you asked like that, or that you wished you did but didn't?
Well, Mike and I were very close friends, and he did a wonderful piece on me on 60 Minutes. In fact, he was so wonderful, he said, the next 2 people I'm going to kill. That was too nice. We worked very differently, but I adored him, and I was with him a couple months before he died. And he was one of my heroes as a broadcaster. I did some stupid things when I first started. I had a priest on, and I was just a kid, and I know nothing about, didn't study religion or anything. And I asked him how many children he had.
Oh,
and, the audience, there was a studio audience, they kind of laughed. Of course, now that would fit.
Right, yeah.
How many have you had?
That is hilarious.
And I think the most embarrassing thing, I guess, to me was it involved Apple. Steve Jobs had formed Apple and was boxed out. He hired a guy to run Apple. I forgot the guy's name. God, I should remember his name.
Was it?
The guy he hired to run Apple fired him. Fired him, Steve Jobs. He was CEO, and he fired Steve Jobs. He got the board to vote Steve.
Wow.
And Steve
Wow,
Jobs was
yeah.
out for like 2 years. Anyway, I had that guy on, and I had him on for 2 hours on the radio. And at the end of the 2 hours, he left, and we went to phone calls. And the first caller said, Larry, you never asked him about firing Steve Jobs.
Oh, wow, that's a biggie.
I did. That's a goof.
Yeah,
That's something I should have known. I didn't have the right notes. I didn't blame the staff.
Oh,
it was
man.
my fault. I should have. You can't know everything. But the thing I learned is there's no such thing as the perfect interview. All you can do is all you can do. You do the best you can. You try to learn as much as you can. You try to be entertaining and informative. And it ain't brain surgery. There was a cute cartoon in the New Yorker. in which doctors are gathered around a guy and they're about to operate on his brain. Right? And they get the thing in a scalpel, and one doctor looks at the other and says, "Hey, it ain't television."
That's a Ziggy.
So when you interview somebody and you've had, do you have a goal in mind normally? Like, is there
No,
okay?
I don't have an agenda.
You don't.
No, my goal is to learn as much as I can and make this as interesting as I can, and the guest counts. So I didn't use the word I because I thought I was irrelevant. See, I see a lot of guys now, you turn them on and they're talking more than the guest.
Right.
That's terrible broadcasting to me. It's sort of like...
Do they have British accents, these terrible broadcasters?
It's all about
Okay.
them. No, it's all about them. Here's an example of today's broadcasters. My guests today are Opie and Anthony, two popular young men in radio. I remember when I started in radio, I worked with another fellow, and that worked for about 2-3 years, and they now work as a team. I find that as a team, the team there has to be one leader of the team. It never's going to work if they're equal, because then you bunch into each other. And Opie and Anthony have written a book, which I'll talk about in a minute. I've written 16 books.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's a classic example of much of what's on television today. I always did that. And another thing, I always broke rules. They used to. You guys do that all the time.
Well, yeah,
Right.
tend
There
to.
used to be a sign at the radio station, first radio station I worked at. If in doubt, leave it out. So if you're going to say something and you're not sure, don't say it.
Right.
I always broke that rule.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I went to my instinct. I trusted my instinct. I had good broadcast instincts. I was not going to goof there. I was not going to curse.
Right,
I
right.
was not going. I had a sense of timing. I knew what was working. I knew what wasn't working. I knew when to get in and out of an interview. I knew when things were not going well, how to move it. And I don't think I learned that anywhere.
No,
But
it is very
because
instinctual.
I listened
Yeah.
so much as a kid, because I listened to the Arthur Godfreys and the Red Barbers and the Mike Wallaces, and they were my heroes. And I didn't try to ape them. Arthur Godfrey told me once, "You guys know this because you're successful. The only secret in this business is there's no secret. Be yourself. Hey, it's going to work. It's going to work. If you try to be someone else, it ain't going to work."
See, listening to Larry talk, it's like your voice is just, you're talking like yourself.
Because I am myself.
I like to hear the regular. I hate the radio voice people put on, the fake inflection or the shedding of an
Remember
accent.
Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
You're listening to Opie and Anthony, American Legends on Sirius Radio. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. I'm turning the page.
Yeah.
Same station.
That is. There was
phony
so
look.
much put on the voice instead of what was actually being said by the voice.
That's right. It's what's said, not
Yeah.
the voice. You know, and to me that was formative. And I pinch myself every day. I can't believe all the things that have happened to me. You know, to get in halls of fame and to be recognized, to go around the world and they know you. I mean,
Yeah.
that is freaking weird.
Yeah.
It's just
Amazing.
weird to me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in South Africa. I mean, I'm going to have lunch with Mandela. See, and I'm walking down the street. A guy comes out of a hut. He goes, "Latin King live." It's like really weird. You know? And I'm not boasting. I'm just trying to say how it's still shocking to me, because I'm still the little kid in Brooklyn
Right.
trying to get in the radio.
Yeah.
And so all of this that has happened to me, sometimes I feel like I'm looking at myself.
Is there anybody you meet that you're impressed with? Like, 'cause we meet people like you, and we're like, holy shit. Is there anybody that you still get nervous around?
Nervous? No. Impressed? Yes. Sure, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with presidents and heads of countries, but not nervous. The only person I was nervous about. You got time for a little story?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. As a kid, Frank Sinatra was my hero, and I used to stand online at the New York Frank Sinatra, and I thought he was a great singer, and I loved his movies, but there was no chance of ever meeting him. And I was in Miami, and I did a local radio show and a local television show, and I wrote a newspaper column. I was kind of like Mr. Miami. And Sinatra was coming into work at the Fontainebleau. I used to play his records when I did record. I used to do a Saturday show called Saturday with Sinatra, and I just admired him. And Jackie Gleason was a mentor of mine. He was very good to me, and I had a lot of fun with him. He came on my show, came on my radio show, television. Anyway, one night I'm at Jackie's house, and there's a group of people there. And Jackie liked to think of things like this. what in your profession is impossible? What's impossible? There was a doctor there. He said, what's impossible? And the doctor said, well, they'll never make blood in a laboratory. Blood is, you can't conceive blood. Blood is blood. You'll never manufacture it somewhere. That'll go into your body and work. And then he said to me, what's impossible in your profession? I said, my profession, I would say Frank Sinatra to come on my 3-hour radio show and talk for 3 hours. Now, this is 1964, and no one is bigger than Sinatra in the world.
Sure.
Frank owns the world. And Jackie says to me, well, when is he working? I said, well, he opens tonight, and he works all 2 weeks. He said, what night is he dark? When doesn't he work? I said, next Monday. He said, you got him. I said, what? He says, you got him next Monday. What time? 9 o'clock? He said, he'll be there. I said, are you kidding me? And he goes, hey, Jackie, hey, pal. Hey, pal. So that night I go on my radio show and I say, Monday night, Frank Sinatra for 3 hours. Now, people are calling in. Come on, you're kidding me, right?
Right.
Now, here comes management. I love management. Larry, we're taking an ad in the Miami Herald Monday that Frank Sinatra's on. We've called the Fontainebleau, and he hasn't returned any calls. Are you sure he's on? I said, well, Jackie Gleason told me he's on. He said, well, what do you? I said, well, I'll call Jackie. I said, Jackie, I got him on the golf course, so he was pissed. I got him on the golf. He says, what do you want? I says, it's Sinatra. He said, what about him? Oh, I thought, is he coming Monday night? He had promised, and he goes, what? Did I tell you he's coming? And he hung up. He's coming. If I tell you he's coming, he's coming. So the station runs the ad, and now it's Monday night. The whole station stayed. No one went home. The secretaries. It was Mom. It was a beautiful radio station. You had to walk upstairs.
Oh, you mean the company didn't tell you that no one could stay? They actually let everybody stay? That's kind of nice.
Exactly.
And this limousine pulls up. I'm standing. It's like 2 minutes to 9. Out steps Sinatra. Up he comes up the stairs. I'm standing out. I was shaking. I was nervous. And he says, which one's Larry King? I go, me.
Oh, man.
He says, all right, let's go. We go into the studio. Now, I got 3 hours with Frank Sinatra on a local radio station at the height of his fame on his night off. So here's what I meant by honesty in broadcasting and none of the phoniness. I said, my guest is Frank Sinatra. Why are you here? Now, I'm not going to fool the audience. I'm not going to kid my good friend Frank Sinatra. And he said, about 4 years ago, I was singing at Ben Maxick's Town and Country Club in New York, and it was Saturday night, and I had laryngitis. I couldn't go on. So I called Jackie Gleason. I said, Jackie, this is my last night here. It's sold out. You're the biggest star on television. Will you come and do the show for me? And Jackie came and did the show. I walk him out to his limousine when he's leaving at the end of the night. Big little crowd loved him. I lean into the limousine. I said, Jackie, I owe you one. Now I get to Miami, and I get a message to call Jackie. I call Jackie. He answers the phone. I said, Jackie, it's Frank. And Jackie said, this is the one.
Oh, man.
He called in the favor for you.
Wow. Oh, gee, that's huge.
such a great old school like entertainer.
That's so Jackie, he held that Jackie. This is the one. And Frank, of course, you always keep your promises.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Or else you're dead. And the postscript of the story is, it was a great, at the end of the night, he says, hey, you want to come see me? I'm making $80 a week. You want to come see me? I said, yes. Okay, we went Friday night. Come Friday night, dinner show. Just come. Your name is at the desk. So I go to see Frank Sinatra. Now, I got to call a girl. Any girl.
Oh, of course.
And you know you're going to score.
Sinatra, hell yeah.
See Frank Sinatra. So I take this girl. I got $20 to my name. 20. And I figure, okay, 15 for the tip and $5 to get the car. And I don't get paid on Monday, but this was Friday. So I got my $20, ringside table, sitting. I'm having a great time. They're serving dessert. Sinatra comes up and sings. And halfway through his performance, he sits on a chair. And he just talks. And he said, you know, the other night I was on this radio show. And there's a young kid there. He was very good. Jackie Gleason told me about him. This kid is really good. You're going to be hearing about him. Larry King, where are you sitting? Take a bow. And I was eating Cherry's Jubilee, which is ice cream with cherries all over it. I had no expectation of this. I hit the table. The cherries all over my face. People are cracking up. Sinatra's laughing. The cherries are going down. And the end of the story is I'm taking the girl home. And she says, would you like to come over the house? Yeah. And I got no money, right? She says, "Oh, by the way, I'm out of coffee. You want to stop at Royal Castle and get some coffee?" I got no money.
Oh no.
I'm just taking this girl to see Frank Sinatra ringside, and I'm penniless.
And this could be the deal closer. Just a cup of coffee. For all that, a cup of coffee.
I pull into the Royal Castle, come back out and said, "They can't change $100." She bought the coffee.
Oh, genius.
One of the great nights of my life.
That's
That's-
brilliant.
And then I got to know Sinatra very well. Did his last interview on television.
Wow.
Was at parties with him. If Frank liked you, there was nobody better.
Huh.
And if he didn't like you, there was no one worse.
Now, if he didn't like somebody, did they know he didn't like them?
Did they know? Yeah, but if he likes you, we used to agree on things that the number one attribute of a human being is loyalty. That's number one. That's number one to me. If I'm your friend, I'm your friend. That would mean if you were charged with a crime, I'd appear as your character witness.
Right.
That's a friend. You stand up. Frank agreed with standing up. He had his little thing. He didn't like Marvin Hamlish.
Who was that?
Marvin Hamlish, who wrote Chorus Line. But Marvin Hamlish wrote The Sting.
Right,
The movie
yeah.
The Sting.
Yep.
And with the da-dun-da-dun-dun-dun,
Yeah.
da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dun. Well, that was written by Joplin years ago, Scott Joplin. Hamlish just merely orchestrated it, but he was taking credit.
Right.
for writing
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, that pissed off Frank. You don't take credit. You didn't write it. You orchestrated it. So he heard one. So therefore, he would never sing a Hamlish song. And he would make fun of some Hamlish songs. Like People. You know the song?
People.
People who need
Yeah.
people are the luckiest people. So Barbra Streisand had a
Yeah.
big hit.
Sure.
Frank would go, "Yeah, you want to hear a dumb song. People. People who need people. No shit. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world." Right. Crap. Another song he hated was "Someone Left the Cake Out in the Rain."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Jimmy Webb. There's a song he sang. It's a beautiful song. And in the middle of the bridge is, "Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it, 'cause it took so long to bake it. And I'll never have that recipe." MacArthur Park.
Right. MacArthur Park.
MacArthur Park.
Who sang that? Richard Harris was it?
Richard Harris.
Yeah.
Sinatra does the whole song, leaves that line out. Doesn't sing that line. So I said to him, "Why don't you sing that line?" He goes, "What the hell's it mean?" I go, "Is someone left the cake out in the rain?" What? What does that mean?
He just cut it out.
Yeah, just didn't sing it. You know, like Frank don't like it, don't sing it.
I'm very jealous of the Jackie Gleason story. That's amazing that you knew
amazing.
him. I very few people have we met that actually knew Jackie intimately.
Jackie would have. I got a call from his PR agent the night before he died. Hank Meyer called me. He had a list of like 20 people he wanted to say goodbye to.
Wow.
And I was one of them. He took a liking to me. So he'd go on my radio show, he'd go on my television show, he'd call in. Jackie was an insomniac.
Oh, really?
And he was. Jackie was, he was a prince. To watch him, he wanted to do The Odd Couple, to play The Odd Couple. I said, "Yeah, you'd make a great, great
Oscar,
boisterous guy." Oscar.
Oscar
He
Madison.
said, "No, I don't want to be Oscar. I want to be Felix."
Really?
That's why he says, you get more laughs. You work off Oscar. See, Oscar's one note. Mm-hmm. He's one note. But Felix you can embellish Felix. Felix is the wimpy guy. So he wanted to develop that character. He used to think about comedy all the time.
Would he really? No, I'm sorry. Would he really not rehearse for the honeymoon? Someone once said that when he would rub his stomach, that meant that he didn't remember his line. Is that the truth?
He'd watch. He had a fat friend. He had a fat friend.
So do
that
we.
did all.
Oh,
he's
geez,
inside
rock.
there.
Oh,
Sorry.
boy.
You could have been working. He did all the rehearsals. So when you were appearing with Jackie, you never worked with Jackie in the rehearsals. And then in the scenes, he would watch this guy. They would tape that. And then he would watch all the movements and then go to those movements in the tape. But he remembered his lines.
Wow.
He
Why would
was
he do
good.
that? Did it feel alive to him to do that? That's him. What
Yeah,
guts?
Well, he wanted to see how it looked.
Oh,
See,
wow.
See, things that were, some people in show business are very interesting. If it's logic to them, it's logic. So to him explaining that to me, he said, "Well, I can't see myself, right? I'm doing it so I can't see myself. And television is a visual media. So I would tape this guy doing it, and now I know how it looks. He had all my moves. So I knew what move worked well, where the guy went to thing. I used to sit with his writers at writers' meetings.
Wow.
He put a lot of problems with those writers. No telephone. Honeymooners had no telephone. Honeymooners, you never went into the bedroom.
Right.
It was a one set, except the raccoon meeting,
Right.
the pool hall, and that one room with the kitchen, and fighting Art Carney to play Norton. They weren't great friends, you know. They were
Right.
great actors, but they didn't socialize.
Whether they dislike each other,
No,
or they
no.
just
Just they. Art went his. Art was a little more serious about the craft. Art wanted to do other. You know, Art won the Academy Award.
Yes.
Harry and Tonto, yeah.
Jackie was Jackie. Art wasn't flamboyant. I went out with him one night. We went out together to see a guy named Wayne Cochran, who was a country singer. And what Wayne Cochran would do was break up the set at the end of the evening. He would put his hand through the ceiling and knock down bands and break up piano. That was the part of his act. And Gleason and Carney are both whacked out of their minds, stone drunk. And I'm sitting there, and they both got their heads on the table like this. Jackie's got his head on the table, Carney's got his head on the table. And Cochran is now breaking up the set. Bang! And Jackie looks up, opens one eye, and says, "Show business."
That's amazing. What
Oh
a
my
to have
God,
hung out
right?
with Art Carney.
Please.
And was Jackie the big? Not to keep asking about Jackie, but was he the? He seemed like he was such a big guy in the room when he came. Was he that?
He was very light on his feet, beautiful. If you watch him do those little dances, he was perfect. He was very agile. He knew He couldn't read music, but he knew every note of music. He would the 80-piece orchestra. He would know if the third violin was off. He had a great ear. He had a great knowledge for taste. He understood humor. I went with him. He says, "Here's Jackie. Woody Allen's working at the Diplomat. He's just getting started." And Jackie heard about Woody Allen. He said, "I'd like to go see him." So we went to the Diplomat. Now, Woody was a very nervous stand-up. He was a writer and an actor, but not a good stand-up. He was funny, but not. He'd get on stage, and Woody was all panicked because Gleason was there. You know, so now he's real fidgety. So I'm sitting with Jackie. Here's how Jackie analyzes humor. Woody begins to tell the story. He said, "It's October, and I'm up in the mountains, and I'm hunting, and I kill a moose. I shoot a moose. And I strap the moose to the side of my car, and I pull back into the city, and the moose is alive. And I unstrap the moose, and what am I going to do? And the Bernsteins are having a Halloween party." But before he said that, Gleason whispered to me, "Halloween."
Oh, really?
So, and then they're having a Halloween, and what happens at the Halloween party, the Bernsteins come dressed as a moose. They have a contest. The Bernsteins win. The moose finishes second.
Yeah.
The moose gets mad. They tangle. They both drop. They take the moose, run back up to the mountain, shoot him again, and except they shoot the Bernsteins. and that the Bernsteins' head is now on top of the New York Athletic Club, and little do they know that that's an anti-Semitic club. And they got okay. So I'm driving back with Jackie, and I said, Why did you say to me it's Halloween?" And he said, "Why did he say it's October?
Wow. That's pretty perceptive.
There'll be no meaning to say October."
So
But
he.
October, once he had the moose, he said Halloween.
So did Gleason enjoy? Because I think Woody's one of the great stand-ups of all time.
Did he enjoy it?
Oh, he loved him, huh?
Oh, yeah, but he understood. Because as a comic, you know setups. And so he knows where a guy is. Comedy is all surprise. Mm-hmm. The idea is to surprise you. Comedy is all surprise, and he understood that it was pointless to say October.
So he understood that Woody was setting it up by saying that as opposed to just saying it for no reason.
Why? No reason to say it a month. Now he's got a moose on the side of a car, so Gleason hits him. It was Halloween.
Wow.
Didn't Jackie do a serious movie called
He did Gigo.
Gigo? That's what it's
Yeah,
called. Where he
yeah,
played like a
yeah.
clown or something.
Didn't speak. Gigo is a mute. He never
Right.
spoke in the whole movie.
Yep.
Gene Kelly directed it.
And was that one he did because he wanted to be taken more seriously as an
He
actor?
did Requiem for a Heavyweight, in which he was Anthony Quinn's manager, a boxing movie, and he did an HBO movie with Laurence Olivier.
Right? Didn't Olivier compliment him or something? And that was to him was a great thing because someone of Olivier's caliber complimented his acting or said that he was really good.
Oh, yeah, Jackie was. There was no one quite like Jackie.
Yeah, right.
He described himself. I said, "Are you religious?" He said, "Oh, I'm a roaming Catholic."
He was he was known for his partying. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's good booze. Yeah, Jackie liked a taste or two.
Yeah.
And he was a lot of fun to be around. He had fun with psychics. You know, these
Right.
mentalists.
Oh, yeah.
So he's on my television show once, and he takes out a $50. And you know these people who can move objects. He put the $50 down, and he said, anyone come to this studio, don't touch it, move that object, I'll give you $100,000. Just simple. You're a psychic. You have power. You have mental things. You can control things. Move the $50. We'll leave it here for a week. Show up. Just let me know if someone does it. I'll give them $100,000. No one can.
Of course not. And do you know, was there truth to the fact that none of those guys got any money for residuals? Like I heard Joyce Randolph was the only one that got money from the honeymooners, which is
Really?
Yeah, her brother was a lawyer.
There was only 28 of them.
Right.
Only
Yeah.
28 of those. It originally started part of the Jackie Gleason Hour on Doing. It was a 10-minute sketch, and then they embellished it.
Yeah. There's 39 of the
39,
classics. Yeah. And then there's the lost episodes that they call them, but I didn't appreciate those as much.
Then he did it. He did it in color when color came in. He did
my
musical
God.
honeymooners every Saturday night on CBS from Miami Beach.
Yeah, with Shelley. Was it
Yeah,
Shelley
right.
Fabre? Was it?
Yeah, Shelley Fabre.
Yeah.
He had original music. He was a consummate pro, though. One night, Mel Torme was the guest, and I was backstage. This is live. It was like 8 to 9 on Saturday night at the Miami Beach Auditorium. And he's off stage for a minute, and he comes backstage. I'm standing there, and he says, the music's going on. He goes, call Raimundo's. It's a restaurant. Tell him we're coming over. And the guy yells, 20 seconds. Tell him we're coming over. Tell him I want the rigatoni, and I want that white wine I had the last time. 10 seconds, Jackie. And also tell him I like the table in the corner. Norton! He went from table in the corner. Norton! Just spun out. He right in the scene.
Do you see a difference between entertainers back then and the way they interacted and the way they are now, or the freedom with which they kind of like that type of stuff is just it's just great.
Well, that kind of entertainer's gone. Where are they?
That's true,
The
yeah.
other night, I was at Sid Caesar's house, and God, Mel Brooks was there,
Jeez.
and Carl Reiner. They're all in their late 80s. Sid's 90, telling stories. Jeff Ross was there. You know Jeff Ross?
Yeah.
Oh, it was hysterical.
Acting probably older and grouchier than all of
Absolutely,
them.
and Jeff looks like the worst in the room.
Jeff Ross has got a show coming on cable in which he attacks people you hate.
The Burn
The Burn.
on Comedy Central, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Burned on Comedy Central. And one of the bits he does is he goes up to a meter maid writing a ticket and says, I got a better thing for you to write. A suicide note. He goes up to paparazzi on the street and he says, you guys, when you come back, your karma is so bad you're coming back as yourselves.
That's funny.
It's good.
Jeff is funny.
He is.
Funny. Sid was funny. Carl Reiner said, the only problem as I age is I have a short-term memory problem. The only problem as I age is I have a short-term memory problem. Mel Brooks was tumbling all over the place. It was a wonderful.
That's an amazing
But you sit around,
group of people.
Sit
Yeah.
around with
Jeez.
old guys telling stories, and the world of show business. And I used to sit around with Burl and Red Buttons, and they were geniuses.
Amazing.
The comedy.
It's such a different environment now, especially like we were just talking earlier about Twitter and whatnot. And the availability and accessibility to celebrities at the drop of a hat. You used to have to sit there and write a letter, send it out. Hopefully, it got to the person, not 20 layers of protection that they have. Now there's this accessibility to celebrities, so it doesn't seem as grand
People
anymore.
call texting talking.
Yeah.
I spoke to my daughter yesterday. How'd she sound? I don't know. Texting is a cop out.
Really? Yeah.
You can say no. You can't say no on the phone.
He's right.
It's the world's best cop out.
Yeah.
But people don't talk. See, I'm a verbal person.
Right.
I'm a go back person. I like You know, I like. Remember the old digital phone?
Yeah, the rotary.
You put the finger in.
Yeah.
I like that. I like little clicks when they were coming back. I like calling the operator for long distance. Let her make the call. I like, you know.
Let her make the. They still even have operators there.
Remember,
Amazing.
Remember when there were phone people that came to your house? Are there any phone trucks anymore?
Not many, no.
Yeah, the phone because you didn't buy your own phone. You had to get in touch with the phone company somehow without having a phone. You had to get in touch with the phone company. They would then come with the black rotary phone, hardwired into the wall. This wasn't you never unplugged it and went to another room.
I'm not into modern technology, even though I'm on the internet now. Every day I'm on the internet. I went to the Apple store with my wife. I went to the one here, which is
the
a
Manhattan
zoo.
one. Yeah.
This was in Beverly Hills. And you go in, and they have all these guys around, little blue outfits, and they're geniuses, right? And they go around and answer questions. It's mobbed. The store is mobbed. And they're speaking a language that I do not understand. They're talking to each other. My wife is saying, well, I have this. Do you have your X mode with you? No, I have that home. Well, you can dial. I will punch into your X mode, and that'll fix it. And we'll do the acculator, and they'll do a lot of things will come up. And I said, and he said to another one, you got an 8-year-old kid, he'll understand it.
Right.
And the guy comes over to me, I'm just standing there, and he says, can I help you? I said, no, I'll have a corned beef sandwich. The whole thing is that it's another world. I realize it's another world. I'm a victim of it. My kids don't know what a typewriter is.
Right, yeah.
They saw a picture of a typewriter and asked, what's that?
It's always amazing to me. Guys like Woody Allen will still write his films on a typewriter, but it just seems it's harder to. Maybe it's more of a tactile feeling, but it seems harder to do because you can't just backspace and erase. And
but there's a sound.
Yeah.
There's a sound to a typewriter.
Yeah.
You hear the banging.
It's slapping.
I like sounds. I like hearing voices. I don't like texting. And now these people they're captured by it. They own it. I went out to dinner the other night with 3 friends. I was the only one live at the table. They're all on their machines.
There was a time when cell phones first really came out and when texting first really started, where it was very rude to be at dinner and text. I believe it still is, but it's a lot more accepted now than it was a few years back.
I think it's rude. I think it's still rude.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think my wife was going to get cancer of the right thumb.
Yep.
She's got to have something wrong with it.
Is she constantly? Yeah.
Forget it.
You know what it is? It's the smartphone. It's like because now you can open the phone up and get access to everything.
Apps.
Yes.
And most people you talk to are not as interesting as everything else.
And I don't want questions answered that quickly.
You like to wait a little
Who
bit.
is Thomas Jefferson's vice president? I'll Google it.
You want to think about it for a while.
Let's argue. I think of his name. Let's get and the worst. I have kids. I have 3 grown kids, but at my age, I married a woman younger than me. Considerably younger than me. I always say when people see us together, I know what they're thinking.
Of course.
Sure, lucky Larry.
No, but I always say the same thing. If she dies, she dies. So I got 2 kids, 13 and 12. 13 and 12, and I'm 79.
Wow.
And they overwhelm me.
Yeah.
They're just too fast for me. The baseball, football,
Right.
hockey, and the thing. And they don't talk to you. They don't speak in a language. And Chance, how to go there? I love you, Dad. Goodbye. I love you, Dad. Goodbye.
Oh boy,
it's scary.
It sounds pretty much like when I grew up, though. It's like your parents were the ones you didn't want to deal with them and talk to them. That doesn't sound too unfamiliar to me, and I didn't grow up with texting.
No, yeah, but it's a different world to me. He has a girlfriend, and
well, good for that.
Yeah, I know, but my wife, this is funny. He's good. The one's 13 is going to be 14. My wife's devout Mormon, and she says, I sure hope he's a virgin when he gets married. And I said, well, I hope he's a virgin when he's 14. I'd rather go with that. Let's place it on the next 3 months.
Right.
Kid is pretty smart.
Well, Larry's got to go.
They're telling us that they're saying he has to wrap.
By the way, Opie.
I'm Jim. No, Opie's not here today. He has a rectal surgery. That's Anthony, and I'm Jim. I'm on the show. Jim Norton.
Where's Hope?
He's not here today. He's sick.
What's the matter with Opie?
He
You know, this is a cutthroat business.
It really
certainly
is.
You know that this is now the Jim and Anthony show.
For today, it is. Yeah.
Is Opie listening?
Probably.
Opie? They axed you out. Oh, I don't know how to break this to you. You know the sign that was in the studio, the Opie and Anthony show? Down.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's Jim and Anthony.
Oh,
I've spray
Larry.
painted black over the Opie. I'm just going to try to cash his checks because he makes a lot more than I do. You're fascinating, Larry. You're
Thank you.
fascinating.
Larry,
You're
what a great
fascinating
time.
guy.
Thanks so
Great
much.
seeing you both.
Absolutely. We'll be right back, too.